as part of any scientific process. It is critical that you as engineers understand the importance of this subject, since it is necessary to answer any general question that you want to solve, any problem that you want to solve. We need a reliable tool with good statistical confidence, and that's why we're going to use the design and analysis of experiments. Maybe you will remember that you will have to understand the variables that you have, let's say the factors that you will have to analyze. Imagine making a hot cake again. Please tell me some factors, some variables that would have to be in this process of making a hot cake. Name them. Name them.
The amount of the ingredient?
Exactly, the amount. Tell me an ingredient, a specific ingredient, please.
Milk.
Let's say milk. Milk is a factor. We need to determine what is the correct amount of milk, maybe even the type of milk that will produce the best hot cake. That's a factor. That's a variable. We need to have several variables, maybe with several levels. That's a new concept. It's how much you are varying this factor. Let's say 100 millimeters, 150 millimeters. Let's say 2% fat milk, 5% fat milk. That would be levels of a variable. And then after you have defined these variables, of course we need to design an experiment, that will tell us, by using statistical tools, statistical tests, will tell us numerically what is the best combination of those factors. And maybe there will be one factor, let's think, I don't know, of the type of pan that you will use. Maybe that will not be important for the experiment or to know how good the hot cake is. So, one response of the design of experiments and analysis that you will do is which of those factors that you thought were important actually are, and for those which are important, what are the correct amounts that you should use, the correct levels that you should use in order to produce the best hot cake. Any questions so far?
No.
No. Good. So, in this course, we'll go through this whole procedure. How do I make this happen? Let's go and collect the data. Let's design the experiment. Let's select how many runs, how many hot cakes you will have to prepare, how you will evaluate that, because you need an expert or maybe several experts who will define which one is the best hot cake. That's how we will make it happen. What's the data? Let's go, let's prove these hotcakes, let's evaluate them, let's see which hotcake is the best one. And then, when we go to this step, you will use the previous course that you had of statistics. Here we will use the statistical tests that you may know by now, you should know by now. And then we will prove that we are sure about them by being able to replicate the results. The reproducibility is important. That is, even though you repeat the experiment after time, you will get the same results. That will be able to do if you design a good experiment and if you analyze it correctly. Then finally, we will try to do this, convince the people who will use those recipes, maybe the magazine where you will publish your new recipe. And then, know what? What's the next step? Maybe instead of analyzing the hotcake recipe, you will have to find, I don't know, the best recipe for a waffle or something like that. That's the next step of any researcher. Analyze what's the next step. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
No? Okay. I hope you all now have a clear idea of what we will do in this course, design and analysis of experiments. Finally, please go back to the app that you were using and help me answering the following. Enter the next question about the design of experiments and answer that for me, please. Please tell me, what is the enemy to quality? Like the worst one. Most of you as engineers will deal with this. You will try to improve the quality of your product, process, whatever. So tell me, what is the enemy to quality? Are you done?
Yes.
Good. 50-50. Okay, we have 50-50 voting. Effective procedures, variation. Okay? You are both kind of correct, but the defective procedures come from the same source, variation. Okay? Variation is the worst enemy of quality. Why? Because if you don't control it, if you don't recognize it correctly, then you will not be able to deal with it and create good products. This variation will produce the raw materials, will produce effective procedures, will not be able to control the human intervention. Of course, since we are working with humans, we will have variation that is natural, but what we want to do is to control and identify that variation in order to minimize the bad effect of it. So, the design and analysis of experiments is a tool very focused on this. To control, identify, and not being so damaged by the variation in a process, so that we can produce good and consistent products. Finally, I will give a very quick conclusion. What is the design and analysis of experiment? Media, help me creating a definition by using these words.
Oh, it's a statistical technique that assure the quality control, and it will help to make quick and low-cost decisions.
Exactly. If you are talking about designing a product, designing a process, improving a product, etc., the design and analysis of experiments, it's that tool, it's the tool that will help us to deal with variation and to make quick and low-cost decisions. So, thank you for your attention. Please read the assignment that I put on Blackboard, and see you next time. Bye.